In today's episode, failed counteroffensive, Berlin has stopped supplying Kyiv with military equipment. Land auction, Ukraine has sold Crimea to Western countries. Propagandists exploit the feelings of believers. The Pope's statement served to fuel the Kremlin's imperial ambitions. Our analytical team at Detector Media is on constant watch, tracking the spread of the boldest fakes from Kremlin propaganda. I'm Vadym Miskyi, and for the next 10 minutes I'll guide you through the key facts. Let's get started. The West, Germany in particular, is getting tired of Ukraine. Russian propagandists have started promoting this classic fake, supposedly based on the German media reports. The narrative is that Berlin has stopped supplying Kyiv with equipment because the counteroffensive has failed, and supposedly Chancellor Olaf Scholz announced this intention to make concessions to Russia.
Ну, вы знаете, Борис Григорьевич, за последние 2 недели основной лейтмотив всей немецкой новостной повестки, он был скорее, знаете, то, что канцлер Шольц все-таки он решил сбросить с себя маску ястреба и вновь примерил на себя маску голубя. Он вновь заговорил о мирных переговорах, он вновь заговорил о мирном решении конфликта на Украине.
In fact, Scholz has repeatedly said that Europeans will have to adapt to the new geopolitical reality. Weapons supplies to Ukraine are currently underway.
Der russische Überfall auf die Ukraine stellt uns alle vor große neue Herausforderungen. Russland bedroht mit seinem brutalen, völkerrechtswidrigen Angriffskrieg nicht nur die Ukraine, sondern gefährdet auch die gesamte europäische Sicherheitsarchitektur. Auf diese neue geopolitische Realität müssen wir uns letztlich alle einstellen und die nötigen Konsequenzen ziehen. Deutschland hat wichtige Weichenstellungen getroffen, um unser Land und unsere Verbündeten besser verteidigen zu können. Und angesichts dieser neuen Realitäten begrüße ich auch, dass Österreich im Juli unserer gemeinsamen europäischen Luftverteidigungsinitiative Sky Shield Initiative beigetreten ist. Dieser Krieg in Europa fordert uns alle dazu auf, unser Selbstverständnis kritisch zu prüfen und mitunter auch zu unbequemen Entscheidungen bereit zu sein. Entgegen einem jahrzehntelangen Grundsatz deutscher Politik liefern wir jetzt Waffen in ein Kriegsgebiet, damit sich die Ukraine gegen die russische Aggression verteidigen kann. Deutschland ist fest entschlossen, gemeinsam mit seinen Partnern und Verbündeten die Ukraine politisch, finanziell, aber auch militärisch zu unterstützen, solange das nötig ist. Dabei ist jede Unterstützung unserer Partner sehr willkommen.
Let me remind you that Germany has just delivered a new military aid package to Ukraine. In particular, they handed over missiles for the Patriot system, drones, trucks and firearms ammunition. In early August, Germany provided Ukraine with 2 Patriot anti-air missile launchers. Ukraine has sold Crimea to Western countries. This narrative is being pushed by Russian propaganda media. The reports claim that Volodymyr Zelensky is not seeking to reclaim Crimea for Ukraine, but is only bargaining with Western leaders over the price of the peninsula. Such assumptions are similar to conspiracy theories, as Zelensky himself has said.
The Ukrainian forces are moving forward, whatever others say. We are moving forward, this is the most important. Moving on, and when Russia surrenders and retrieves, it just turns a blind eye on its weakness. Russian society may turn a blind eye on the retrieval of the occupiers from the Crimea as well. During this year, we proved that global stability is possible only with the participants of Ukraine when the Russian aggressive intentions lose. The proof for that is on the lunch tables of all of the families of the world, when we managed to clean the part of the Black Sea from the Russian occupiers and to launch our grain export by sea. The food prices on the world market instantly decreased, and the Black Sea is the key to the world food, and that is social stability. Crimea is the key to security in the Black Sea. We cannot leave the keys in the hands of the terrorists, and we will not do that.
World leaders are regularly discussing the consequences of the peninsula's occupation since 2014 and the ways to return Crimea to Ukraine.
A prosperous, democratic, and stable Ukraine of the future requires cooperative work to address regional security, to ensure Crimea benefits from Ukraine's recovery and reconstruction, and to address the deplorable erosion of human rights and international law in Crimea under Russian occupation. La Crimée fait partie de l'Ukraine et non de la Russie. Crimea is part of Ukraine, not Russia. 9 years ago, Russia carried out an illegal annexation of Crimea through deception and force. This blatant violation of Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity marked the beginning of Putin's attempt to deny Ukraine its independence. Today, Crimea continues to be used as an army camp from which Russia threatens not only the rest of Ukraine, but the broader Black Sea region. The peace, stability, and prosperity that much of the world has known for more than 75 years has ended because of Putin's brutal choice.
I should add that the head of the Ukrainian intelligence service, Kirill Budanov, emphasized that Ukraine cannot imagine the end of the war without the return of the occupied Crimea. It is difficult to predict when this will happen. How will the peninsula be deoccupied? Before the full-scale war, diplomatic measures were being considered, but now the military and political leadership is considering military or combined ways, said the chief of intelligence officer of Ukraine. Russian propaganda systematically exploits socially sensitive topics such as the issues related to believers. The reason for the latest manipulations in particular was a somewhat controversial statement by Pope Francis. Propagandists immediately seized on the opportunity. In a video message to Russian youth, the Pope says that Russians are the heirs of the great country and thus perhaps unknowingly played along with the Kremlin's imperial ambitions.
Voi siete regni della grande Russia, quel grande Russia dei santi, dei re, la grande Russia di Pietro Grande, di Caterina II, quell'impero russo grande, colto, di tanta cultura, di tanta umanità. Non rinnegate mai di questa eredità. Voi siete gli eredi della grande madre Russia. Andate avanti con quello. E grazie per il vostro modo di essere e per il vostro essere russi.
As Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine is waiting for Pope Francis to explain his controversial words, I quote, "It is very unfortunate that Russian imperialistic ideas, which are in fact the reason for Russia's chronic aggressiveness, consciously or unconsciously are being voiced by the Pope, whose mission is, on our understanding, to open the eyes of Russian youth to destructive course of the current Russian leadership." The Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church expressed hope that Pope Francis' words about Greater Russia were spontaneous. Later, Vatican spokesman Matteo Bruni explained that Pope Francis did not intend to glorify Russian imperialism. Quote, "The Pope intended to encourage young people to preserve and promote what is positive in Russia's great cultural and spiritual heritage." The American magazine Chronicles published a cover story about Russia's aerial superiority over Ukraine. This is yet another fake made by Kremlin propaganda. The picture shows a Russian fighter jet hunting a Ukrainian plane. Analysts of the VoxCheck project looked into the case. There is no such issue on the American magazine Chronicles with this cover. The image indicates that this is the August edition, but the August issue was dedicated to the US elections. This questionable creativity of the Russian media around the topic of aircraft is not surprising. After all, the Kremlin propaganda is extremely irritated by the intention of Western partners to provide Ukraine with F-16 fighter jets.
The Department of Defense is announcing today that the United States will soon begin training Ukrainians to fly and maintain F-16 fighter aircraft in support of the international effort to develop and strengthen Ukraine's long-term defenses. Following English language training for pilots in September, F-16 flying training is expected to begin in October at Morris Air National Guard Base in Tucson, Arizona, facilitated by the Air National Guard's 162nd Wing. Although we do not have specific numbers to share at this time in regards to how many Ukrainians will participate in this training, we do anticipate it will include several pilots and dozens of maintainers. The training provided by the United States will complement the F-16 pilot and maintenance training that's already underway in Europe and further deepens our support for the F-16 training coalition led by Denmark and the Netherlands. Moving forward, we will remain in close consultation with the Danes, the Dutch, and other allies to ensure U.S. training complements the broader coalition training effort.
Ukraine's Defense Minister Alexei Reznikov predicts that our country may start using F-16 aircraft in the spring of 2024. This estimate includes time for training pilots and preparing the infrastructure. Russian propagandists should have been doing a better job of covering the state of Russian aircraft. At the end of August, Russian airfields Soltsi and Shaikovka were attacked by quadrocopters launched from Russian territory. According to the Ukrainian intelligence, the attacks resulted in the complete destruction of two Tu-22 strategic bombers and damage of 2 other aircrafts. And this was a drone attack on the Pskov military airfield, which destroyed 2 Il-76 aircraft. Stay with us so you never fall victim to Kremlin propaganda. Ukraine will win thanks to the support of our Western friends. Good luck!